Well, I guess we're now sitting at season 2, episode 2, Unity. Who are we and what are we doing here?
We're Cobb and Unity. We're based in Vancouver, Canada, and we love to hang out in the cannabis community and get to know our colleagues. And today we have Julie from Cannareps with us.
Hello.
Hi, Julie. How are you?
Good. Really good.
Yeah?
Yeah, you know what? We had a pretty good summer so far. Gotta say, I just drove back down from Whistler this morning.
Oh, wow.
Sea to sky. What's that saying? Welcome to the place where the sky meets the mountain, mountain meets the ocean, and ocean meets the land. Something like that.
All right, yeah.
I butchered it.
You butchered the saying or you butchered the experience?
I butchered the saying.
Well,
Yeah.
don't worry
The
about
experience was
saying.
top notch.
It sounded, yeah.
No,
I'm
that's,
taking a
yeah,
butchered
we're going to
man
cut
down,
that out.
So,
It's amazing because I've been having this same thought. I was in Deep Cove today. Same thing.
Gorgeous.
Like at the beach with Kush, and then we climb up a mountain, and there's so few places in the world where we have this ocean and the mountains together.
Yeah. It's amazing. This vast land, to have total access to it is one of my favorite things about being Canadian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, what were you doing up in Whistler?
You know what? We went to this cool thing called the Mountain Feast. So you ride the peak-to-peak gondola up to the top of the mountains, experience the view. There's this suspension viewing platform to check out to test your fear of heights, and then after all of that, you feast on this I would say high quality hotel level food. And it's they had ribs, they had prime rib, they had perfectly cooked chicken, they had every the Brussels sprouts are they're to die for. So
The Brussels
so
sprouts.
and then imagine you're in the forest hiking, and what gets you going when in a hike? 30 minutes into hike, you feel your endocannabinoid system start to wake up, and you start to feel better. That's why people love being around nature. It can trigger that high feeling.
Have you done the grouse grind? Because 30 minutes of the grouse grind, my endocannabinoid system is saying, turn around.
Yeah,
go home.
I think
What
that's
have you done to
3
me?
minutes into the grouse
Yeah,
grind.
yeah.
However, a gondola ride from a peak to peak with a couple of
I can see that being quite inspiring.
Yeah.
For many systems, including the endocannabinoid.
Yeah. So then you're doing that, and then I'm also, of course, I had 7 pre-rolls locked and loaded, right? Especially for different peak, let's just say, right?
Yes.
And so when you hit the peaks and the valleys, you just load up with whatever you need. And so, yeah, it just got me thinking about, loving cannabis so damn much.
Mm-hmm.
And I love talking about it with, my friends that we, smoke weed with, right? Yeah.
Do you have friends anymore that you don't smoke weed with?
No, yes, I do.
Okay.
I do. I used to have only friends I smoked weed with.
Mm-hmm.
Well, obviously, growing up, I had friends that didn't smoke weed because we were all virgins one day, right?
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
But when I got into it, it was a mix, half and half, and then it turned into full time. When you're full-time stoner.
Yeah. Yeah. Still working on it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's minimum 3 times a day, right? Yes. So, you think about it even more so than breakfast, lunch, and dinner,
Mm-hmm.
right? That has changed, and I actually have, and then I married a guy that doesn't smoke weed at all.
Oh, man.
I know.
That's crazy.
People think they're how do you do that? And I don't drink. I drink 0 alcohol.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Does he get sloppy?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, not good. However,
I don't want to talk about that so much.
No.
Yes or no?
Yeah, well, I just think usually people that drink a lot of times it gets sloppy.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Well,
you know what I
no.
mean?
Oh, yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. But it's jovial, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. But I don't drink any alcohol, so I am
Yeah.
not a drinker at all. And then he doesn't smoke weed at all. So
Fascinating.
yeah, and so our dynamic, he was the first person I started dating that didn't really smoke weed, you know what I mean? Ever since I started smoking weed, because you would think that if you are a weed smoker, you would want your partner to smoke
Yes,
weed.
because I'm single and I'm on Bumble, and Bumble has a cannabis
No way.
like icon.
Only in Canada. They don't have it in the U.S.
Ah,
Yeah.
for
Right?
real?
Yeah, for real. And so obviously I put frequently
Yes.
because I have frequently, sometimes never. And for me, like I sometimes look at that never, and I'm like, I don't know if I
No,
can do this.
that's right. I could not because I was like, I don't want any judgment or anything like that, or I want to do it whenever I want, right?
Yeah.
However, but like my husband was super cool. Like boyfriend at the time was super cool, right? And it was like nice and easy peasy. The one thing I learned though is that I had to smoke weed by myself. I made that transition. I always thought, nope, I always smoke weed with my friends. That is a social thing to do. You only do it, like, you know, at parties. And then as it got more frequent, but as it became more required.
Mhm.
Then I was like, well, I'm not going to depend on someone else if I really want it. I'm just going to smoke it myself, right? And then I'm like so comfortable with it.
Well, still, it's kind of nice. You got to learn to smoke it on your own while still having that support network of somebody there. Maybe a little sloppy some evenings, but you were never smoking alone, really. I mean, you were just smoking by yourself, well, being coupled. Whereas poor Unity and I just sit here, smoke and weep, and then go to bed, have a bag of chips
No,
or
no, no, no,
something.
no. I do smoke alone. I do smoke alone,
I
right?
understand. Okay, so I sometimes think when I'm with somebody, I feel like, okay, so I have a really good friend and he's really like outdoorsy, and I kind of become dependent on him to show me around the outdoors. But then I learned I can do it on my own. And so
Yes.
it's like the same thing.
And it's
like,
okay.
it's fine, and it's strengthening, and it's amazing that we can, like, it's ours.
Yes. Yeah.
Like ours.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. And that's the first thing when you share, right? It shows that you really care.
Mhm.
Because the hardest thing in a relationship, I would say, is like when you share your finances. But the first step is sharing your weed, right? And that's how you show that you care. So, I totally agree. I know weed creates relationships. It allows for them to go deeper, absolutely. Um, but one of the, I would just say, consequences of not having a partner that smokes weed with me every single time, uh, is that I actually smoke less, and I learned what my ideal size joint is, depending on the potency. But however, I kind of like know what a single use is, right? And I would say, relatively decreased my cannabis consumption, not in terms of frequency, but in terms of total, let's say total mass in a month.
All right, yes.
Right?
Yeah,
Because
no,
like
that
there's
makes
some
sense.
people that go, a quarter a week or an eighth a week, right? That's like about average if you smoke weed. Average.
Well, and I think too now with the varying levels of like CBD and THC and all of that, like your frequency can possibly even go up, but your general
Total
response
consumption.
to your total consumption goes up, but you're layering it with, it's not just a 30% THC. Go go go. Let's just
No,
jam it
no, no,
all
no,
in.
no.
It's CBD in the mornings. It's a 4-to-1. It's a whatever the hell it is, a 20-to-1. You can mix and match and kind of cater towards your consumption, where if you choose to consume more than the average person, you're not necessarily this burnout or this, that stigmatized burnout. You're catering, you're curating your experience, you're curating your day around it. So
Yes, yes. However, and that's the interesting point I want to make amongst other cannabis connoisseurs, let's say, right? And would you consider yourselves connoisseurs,
I would like to think so. Yes.
right?
Yeah. I'll not toot my own horn, but yeah, I've smoked enough of it, and I've learned enough about it, albeit, I mean, I'm in the presence of greatness, but yeah, I know more than the average person. I know that because I've talked to the average person about cannabis. So, as far as appreciating it, I appreciate it in much different ways. And when I teach people about cannabis, it's the basics, but it's really more about appreciating it than it is about here's the details, here's the chemical formula, here's the molecule, here's these kinds of things.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So a connoisseur is someone that appreciates it to the extreme level where you want to study it and get to understand it even better. But the first thing that you loved about it, you appreciate it for what it was, right?
Mhm.
And so when it comes to cannabis appreciation, we appreciate it in so many different ways, right? Cannabis can be used in so many different contexts. But if we were to look at cannabis on its own, the first thing is the smell, right? And sometimes you go, what is that smell? What is that? Or you're like, holy shit, is that a skunk? Or was that like, I don't know, was a group of guys standing there? Do you know they got skunked, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or it can be like, oh, it smells like you're in a tropical paradise, right? Other times it smells earthy, like a hike,
Mhm.
and that freshness, right? And so, in terms of appreciation, it's like how much can you appreciate the smell?
What I don't. What's interesting is there's one terpene profile that I'm still trying to pinpoint that I don't really overly appreciate, but the only kind of smoke smell, if it's being consumed on the street, that I don't like is when I know, and she swore already, when it's shitty weed. But it's when I know it's not of good quality. It smells like a burning hay kind of thing. It's like it's cannabis, but it's not real. It's not. Wow, that thing is like
Yeah.
that's got terps right to the filter kind of
Well,
thing,
right,
right?
and that's
So
actually taste. So when we're talking about smell, smell is the first like physical analysis. The taste is done when you do the burn, right? And so in the taste, you can taste the smoke, right? The smell of the smoke is one thing for sure, but the taste of the smoke is like you can tell. Like, have you ever smoked bitter weed?
yes,
You know what I'm
yeah,
talking about?
that's I think what I'm saying when I'm smelling it, I'm picking up on that as well. Yeah.
Oh, I am offended by bitter weed.
Mhm.
And when I first tried bitter weed, I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. Is there a return policy on this? Because I cannot even finish this. What's the return policy?
Well, the return policy with the BCLDB is there are no returns. Once a package is opened and that excise stamp is broken, it's considered a final sale. Even if you receive the wrong packaging, you have to kind of notice these things before you buy it. And I think there's an allowance if it's not the correct weight, but it's quite a generous allowance. And I think if you're really going to get your money back on that, you need to film yourself opening your cannabis every single time and weighing it.
Is that recommended? Like, do we need to be doing that?
It's really hard. I mean, I think we're at a point in transition in history where we want to have these experiences that Julie's talking about, and we're just so prohibited by these regulations that we don't get to um, see or smell this cannabis that we're actually buying in this new industry.
So that brings me to my second point, or my third point. We talked about um, smell, but smell, the parameter we said, how much you enjoyed the smell. Okay? I'm going to go back to smell. Then we did taste, right? And that's through after burning. And then let's talk about, you know what? Let's go back to smell now. The number two parameter on smell is odor strength. Because just because a flower is called cat piss, have you heard of that?
I've heard of
There's a
yeah
cat
that
piss,
and yeah.
and it literally smells like cat piss. And the odor is strong, but it smokes so good. And you're like, I love the cat piss. And you never thought that you would say that in your life. However, it tastes so good and it smokes so good. And it's the odor is so strong. And that's expression of the plant through its terpenes as it grows. And so if it expresses that in abundance, well, isn't that a parameter of quality? That terpene expression, the louder it smells, it doesn't matter what the smell is. You don't want to be biased on that smell. You want to neutrally say how strong is the smell. Because if it smells like skunk, skunk, skunky weed is good weed.
Mhm.
Would you say that that's good weed just because it smells like skunk?
We
No.
can't say that the smell alone, absolutely not. Um, just pausing on the terpene expression.
Mhm.
Um, can a plant express terpenes that you would say like, wow, that from what I know, that's myrcene. There's a ton of myrcene on there. However, the most dominant terpene when tested isn't myrcene, for instance, or it's something completely different that doesn't express in an olfactory sense, but it expresses from a testing perspective. Does that exist, or will, if there's a high terpene count of a specific terpene, it will
Mhm.
always be expressed? You'll always be able to smell it, or is there sometimes it's trapped in the plant in some ways, but the terpene itself still, like, does that make sense?
Yeah, and
Like what I'm.
some terpenes, like, it's still okay. The thing about terpenes is that it's a full on bouquet of aroma. So with terpenes, like, you can't really say this cannabis plant, like, sure, I can smell on it that it's got dominant myrcene. However, just imagine it like a perfume bottle. A perfume bottle is made up of hundreds, if not thousands, of different terpenes, and then collectively it creates this bouquet, right?
Mhm.
And then it's that overall aroma that you smell. And so, for a certain plant, for it to produce terpenes, absolutely, we either didn't even test for it because we're only testing for what the top 13 or the predominant 13,
Mhm.
and reporting on the 8 or whatever, right? And really, you're looking at the top 3,
Mhm.
whatever. With that said, yes, absolutely, because certain terpenes are sharper on the nose than others, right? So we can produce an abundance of a certain terpene and have a more dull aroma or a different aroma or an aroma that works completely different in that overall bouquet
Mhm.
of smell, right? However, and that's how smells are created in this world,
Yeah.
right? So, to say, okay, the odor strength, right? How is the odor strength on this? I'm just going to be objective in this time. It's kind of like decibels and a song. So how loud in decibels was that motorcycle on the street,
Mhm.
and how, and then in when that would be comparable to odor strength. Um, Pleasantness of aroma would be similar to how much do you like the song. So it's subjective.
Mhm.
However, it counts. Both count.
Well, no, absolutely. They both count. I mean, that's, I think, in like 5 years' time when we have data like that, where there are some really unique terpene profiles out there that some people that I assume are going to love them, hate them, or just people that I would assume, how could you not love this, whether you know what terpenes are or not? How could you not love how this smells? And it's like they're just appalled by it, like it's garbage or like it's
There
some.
is, okay, that, what's it called, that my weird addiction or my weird twisted addiction?
Yeah, I
Something, there's
know
like
it.
a
Yeah, I
TLC
know.
show on it or something like
Yeah.
that. There's some people that like to drink shots of gasoline. Have you heard of
Yeah,
that?
that or like they'll yeah, like basically sit there and eat what is it? It's not Comox, Borox or something, like like powdered bleach
There's
or
like
something.
an
Just like weird
addiction
shit.
to
Yeah,
it.
just
Yeah,
like weird.
exactly. So, but the thing is, I know a lot of people that when you're a kid, you kind of like go up to a car and you smell that
Oh, gas. Don't get me wrong.
gasoline
I
smell.
mean, yeah,
So a lot of
up
people
to a
like,
certain point, that stuff is pretty damn
but it's
good. Yeah.
weird. Like, I don't know. Like for me, I don't really like
Everybody's
it.
got
It
something.
made me like kind
Everybody's
of
got.
vomit when I
Yeah.
was younger. Like made me nauseous. But people like the gas. You mean when you talk about something that is a kush, and that kush
You got
has
gas.
some gas, and you're like,
You
damn,
don't. You
you
don't like that.
like that. You know what? For me, it's just not my profile.
Yeah.
It's just not my profile.
I
I
don't love
like the
those gas
smooth
either.
creaminess. Yeah.
Well, and again, it's like I love them all except for the one that kind of comes across as fresh cut grass. It's a
Like the
very
hazes?
chlorophyll-y sort of light, sort of. It almost doesn't exist, and it's like it's disappointing when
Oh,
you open it. It's just like it's like okay, I have it, but it's like I can pick up what this is,
yeah.
what this is, but it's so flat and I don't know.
Yeah.
I liken it to British cooking or something.
Yeah.
So.
So at that point, you just cook it because seriously.
Well, but some people like Steph, for instance, that terpene she loves it. She's like, wow, it reminds me of fresh cut grass. It reminds me, it provides that memory for some people for me, it like, and literally, I love
See?
almost every single terpene, but that one I don't hate. I just simply am not at all inspired by it whatsoever.
It's true.
So.
It's true. So it's all an like almost like an automatic emotional reaction. when you smell something, you like it. Have you ever smelled a woman and it doesn't matter, she looks sexy, but when she walks by, your blood is just rushing. And I gotta say, for the girls, there is like I just beware from there's this Tom Ford per cologne that men wear, and it makes women melt. Like maybe we'll put it in the show notes later because it is
Put it in, like, text me, please, with
yeah,
a
I
link.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I'm huge on pheromones. You can probably find that out on all my dating profiles. I'm very forward about it, but it's like I
Too forward.
well, no, but it does come. It's interesting how all these things connect for me, and I don't want to get too personal or whatever, TMI. But I mean, I like pheromones are huge for me, and it's not the perfume so much, but it's how the perfume interacts with that person. It's like eternity back in high school. Everybody wore eternity. The place smelled like eternity. It smelled good on one dude because it mixed with his and that's just it. It's like vanilla doesn't go on, doesn't work with every woman.
Yeah.
A baby powder, a floral, everything. Pheromones will work differently with the scents that you put on your body, both men and women. I started making the connection that I love cannabis for those, for the terpene reasons, and I have always. There's been almost an immediate 180 in some cases where I get that. Holy God! It's like, wait a minute, you just became the most attractive woman in this bar for absolutely no reason aside from whatever the hell I just picked up off of you.
Yes.
So.
And I get that too.
It's
and
so
plants
fascinating.
do that. And plants do that to say, hey, you know what? I'm sexy. Come over.
Yes.
You know what? I got some seeds over here. Brush up against me. I'll give you some seeds and take it along for me, right? You know? So like, or it can be like, yeah, like, you get away from me. I smell like skunk. I'm gonna taste like skunk. So if you chew on me, I'm gonna skunk you, right? So other like deer and bunnies and they're not gonna want to eat you. So terpenes like pheromones are like they're playing signals, right? And so I just think when it comes to appreciation, some varieties just speak to other people in certain ways, and that's why it makes it so special. When you smell that flower and it smells just right for you, and you're like, how did you know? This is my favorite! And you get so excited.
I absolutely have those, but I have to throw in that we gotta have like a cannabis horoscope or zodiac because there are some real bitch goddesses out there. Those plants, like the tangelope, for instance. I love the tangelope. Like I love air, but it can make me racy. It can make me anxious. It can make me, that's just it. It's very similar to the. I find to females in that regard. Like some are, I want to be with them, but it's the worst possible thing for me in the world, right? It's that kind of that dynamic. So, anyways, I'm talking too much about romance here and these plants, but I think that's really what I truly ultimately love. I think are these plants and and those are my favorite ladies for sure. But yeah, just because you think that pheromone is magical for you doesn't necessarily mean that plant is at least the one that should be spending the night with you. Maybe just go for a movie in the afternoon with her, or go for a jog. But make her your muse.
Right. Muse could be that's a good one.
The muse.
Yeah. Well, there's different ones for different scenarios, right? There's whether you want to call it muse, whether you want to call it Netflix and chill, if you want to call it bedroom, bath, after work, with friends, coffee and right?
Yeah.
There's so many different contexts for it. So, okay. So we did.
Check, please. Which one is that?
Well, the sexual desire to
it.
I'm
sorry. I was thinking more like check, please. This has got to end. Here's an LA Kush, young lady. I'm gonna just get you a blanket. I got an early morning. All right.
No. Okay. No. Okay. Then if we're gonna talk about that, let's talk about visual appreciation.
Yes.
So when it comes to visual appreciation, there's a couple parameters. So the first parameter is bud development, right? The bud needs to be full. It needs to be fully grown. It needs to be uniform across the buds. Like the batch, you cannot have too much variation. They should be similar bud development. that showcases very beautiful and stable genetics, right?
In a package?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, in a grow, like if you're trying to say, hey, you know what is the best quality flower? You gotta look at the plant. You gotta look at the whole thing, right?
Starting from the plant, you're looking for uniformity as far as
The
the
bud
buds are concerned.
development, the almost symmetry or whatever it may be, like Beauty and the Beast, okay? There's that rose. If that rose is missing some petals, the bud isn't as beautiful, right? So just like in weed, you want the calyxes to be nice and thick and fat and juicy, right?
Mhm.
And the bud to not have any gaps through it, right? So bud development, and then the overall trichome density, right? And the trichome maturity and quality, because it's fascinating when you see a trichome under a microscope. You can tell the difference. You know what I mean? Do you remember Unity?
Yeah, it changed my life. Like taking cannareps with you, like changed everything. Like you do such an excellent job at teaching people how to love the plant and how to understand it and how to identify these things. Like you're very good at this.
Oh, thank you. Well, like Unity was awesome. She came to the workshop afterwards, and like, did you teach them how to roll a joint that day? And it was a good workshop.
Yeah, I just love everything cannareps.
Yeah.
Love everything about it.
Yeah, I noticed your book is over there. It's the Can't Help Deck.
Yeah, see that. So there you go. So the
Yeah.
Can Help deck is merchandise front and center, and that wasn't even planned.
Oh,
Like,
really?
yeah, I just love what you do.
Oh, well, you know what? It's limited edition. Those books are limited edition. They're rare now. So, yeah, we don't have it in our classrooms anymore. So, you're lucky. It's a relic almost.
Well, I will cherish it.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
So trichome maturity, trichome density, even the trichome shape. Because when the trichome looks wrinkled and broken, or the trichome heads have fallen off, it makes my heart just like, oh, you were a beautiful trichome and something happened to you, right?
What is something?
Well, like I don't want to get like so into it,
Okay, yeah.
but
We'll do it. We'll have to do like
yeah,
an
yeah.
after hours chat with you at some point.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. You can see it. We can like I'll whip out the microscope for you and I'll show you.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So there's that, and then of course standard trim.
Mhm.
It's got to have good trim, right? And then moisture, key. Moisture is key because you want it to be a good smoke, right? And whenever you determine moisture, how do you determine that it's ideal?
Myself, it's
Yeah.
I mean, I can usually pick it up on the nose whether there is humidity or a decent amount of relative humidity in the jar. Obviously, squishing it, it's that we like using the term nerfy, I guess.
Yes.
But it doesn't. The other thing too, though, the more experience you get, it doesn't necessarily always like nerfy isn't always what it has to be. I have this unicorn flower right now that has been perfectly hydrated for the past couple of weeks, but it is so dense that you're not getting a nerf out of it. It's like it fluffs out. It's a dense flower,
Is it
right?
sticky?
So it's a pretty sticky flower. It's pretty like, and that's just it. It's a heavy flower all the way through. So whether that's quality or not, it just simply is a different type of bud.
It
It
is.
isn't going to be nerfy. I have some too. A Gorilla Glue #4 right now that is just filled the container. It's so flowery. Whereas the wedding cake that I have is a lot more dense, right? But
Right.
they're both nerfy in their own right, but one
Yes.
is certainly nerfier than the others.
Right. Well, and that's more so not about the density or the moisture content of the bud itself. That's talking about the, let's call it like um, um, wispiness, or the surface area that it really takes,
Mhm.
right? Because it's the amount of air that's in the bud. Like so, super wispy bud that like the sativas that are super hairy and they're all splayed out.
Right.
Well, that's spongy, right? Whereas like what was your unicorn bud?
Yeah,
You said it was.
yeah. I don't. Yeah, again, I'm not even sure that this is the right name. I think it was just a made-up name for
Yeah.
it at the end of the day for the strain, because I've had a unicorn that doesn't purport
Right.
anything like this. But,
Yeah. So I smoked this. Oh, it was so good. It was a black mamba.
Mhm.
It was dense and it was heavy and it was small.
Yeah.
Right. And so yes, I totally understand. I totally get you about that. So when you're testing for moisture, it's not necessarily about the nerfy squishness, but when you do give it a press, right, it should bounce back, or when you give it a break, it should have that nice little snap, not a bend and not a brittle, right?
Yeah.
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 So that, and I feel like almost everyone knows what good moisture cannabis is like. We know if you rolled a joint in your life.
Dry. And that's the thing. Yeah, absolutely. It's when it's too dry, it's not you're not rolling anything. It's I remember bragging about rolling joints or how good I was at rolling joints. And this is down in Honduras, and despite it being quite humid down there, we finally got weed down there, and it was dry as all get out. And here's I guess I was Jacob at the time, but here's Cobb sitting there trying to roll this damn weed.
Your first name's Jacob?
No, it's not. Anyways,
in Honduras it
I
is.
should have been talking. Yeah, but yeah, exactly. On another passport, another time. But yeah, you're sitting there bragging all these other travelers, and you're the guy there ready to roll the joint. And yeah, dry weed is as bad as dry fingers. It's like I find like if my fingers are dry, it's like I'm almost done for. But if the weed is dry, then yeah, I'm looking at complete asshat. It's not happening. So there's no Craig Xing my way through this. You just
Yeah.
That guy can roll a joint with anything. Me though, it just spits right out the side.
Oh
so.
really? I'm gonna show you how to roll like a foolproof method to rolling a joint.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
It's foolproof. I can get anyone to roll a joint of any type.
Done and done.
Yep. Okay. So then we've got now physical appearances, physical smell, right? So when you see, what you smell, what you grade amongst that, what you touch and feel, right? But I don't care if you grade a flower, a quad, based on that. It doesn't matter until you burn it and you smoke it. And now it's all about the flavor and the smoothness, right? It's got to taste good and it's got to be smooth on the way down and on the way out, right? I would say like that is the most when it just comes. We're not going to be counting the experience or the effect or the high, right? If you're just saying the experience, the cannabis appreciation itself, smoothness and flavor, right? So
and with the flavor, I don't know if this is part of the last or part of the taste, but the dry pull. Do you guys encourage that?
Dry pull is you know what I
that's where that's where the
support.
expressions come out to me, because that's where it's like you take a small pull, you get something. You take a long pull, you start getting terpenes going over the back of your palate, and every part of your palate. It's like the sweet, salty, spicy. How it almost works with food, that you pick up. I swear to God, you pick up different terpene, you pick up different terpenes on different parts of your tongue. There are sour terpenes, there are sweet terpenes, berry terpenes, things like that.
Well, absolutely, absolutely. The dry pull is key because terpenes are volatile. So when you combust and burn them, a lot of the terpenes are gone. In a dry pull, you are taking the mono and the sesquiterpenes in, and you're doing this as a whole, as a flower. So when you, just as much as you smell it, when you're smelling the cannabis, and then when you pull on it, right, it should match in smell. However, it doesn't always, and when it doesn't match the way it tastes, doesn't match the way it smells, kind of a problem, right? And I've come across cannabis like that, and a lot of times I'm going to say the cannabis is like too old, and that's why when you pull on it, it changes the flavor in a good way sometimes. Over cured bud, delicious. In a bad way in other times. So the dry pull, absolutely. Then you spark and you burn and then you taste. And after the taste is so much, right? Whether it's the taste should also be like the smell of the bud, but it's kind of like coffee, right? When you smell coffee versus taste it, it's like that. But once you can tell the difference between good flavored or bad flavored cannabis, right? So then you got flavor and then smoothness. I don't care if you cough or not, it should still be smooth on your tongue and your throat.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, I've had cannabis that has passed all of those tests except for that last step where it's like, wait a minute, why does it have terpenes? Why does it smell fresh? Why is the humidity there? Why does it taste like I'm smoking a tin can right now?
Well, there's contaminants over nutrients. It wasn't flushed properly. It wasn't cured properly. It's the paper. There's so many things that make the taste go bad, right? So one last thing that I really appreciated out of the joint that we just smoked, and I always look, is the white ash.
Yes, I was going to just ask about this. Okay.
The
Yeah.
ash is so important. And what was it that we smoked? What was that?
It was Animal Face from,
Yes.
well, I can say it, Coastal Wildfire. It's my cannabis. So, yeah, Coastal Wildfire's Animal Face.
Delicious.
It was delicious.
And
It
it
is
burned
delicious.
white.
Yeah.
That would get 100 points on ash color being white.
Yeah, it's a lot of Snow White. Well, and that's the thing for myself too. It's I'm pretty white. Is that white ash isn't necessarily going to guarantee that the cannabis is clean, but black ash you're guaranteed you're smoking crappy cannabis.
That's right.
It's one of
Salt
those
and pepper
kind of,
is acceptable. I would say salt and pepper burn is acceptable. It's not like I will not smoke it if it's a salt and pepper burn.
Yeah.
Right? If it's a black burn, I'm cleaning it out.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So, can we I'm just testing out this thing.
Yep.
I want to like see if for the users that are not familiar with this quality grading scheme. However, we've got one cannareps cannabis sommelier graduate, right? And then we've got a cannabis connoisseur that's been practicing quality grading for how many years now?
I don't really know. Ever since, well, yeah, that's just it. Depends on the bag that I got back in the day, but it's been at least
your whole life.
15,
Yeah.
20 years now, but certainly 15 where it's been truly appreciating and having dealers that, yeah, I didn't necessarily appreciate a lot about them, but they appreciated cannabis a lot more than I realized at the time. And I realized, yeah, like 15 years ago, these guys were talking CBD and stuff, and I'm like, oh my god, a little bit before their time. So they taught me a lot back in the day. But again, you're gonna school me here, and I might have to just edit out this entire piece.
No. There's no schooling.
There's
no schooling. So we're going to take a look. What I'm doing is I'm testing a system that's in beta. So this is a test on me. You're schooling me.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
So like I'm the one that's learning from this experience. So my test is I want to know, did I create a quality grading system that works where I've had I'm going to test it with a novice user, someone that doesn't really know cannabis, someone that studied cannabis, went to cannareps school, and studied cannabis for 15 years, right? And see if you get similar-ish numbers, and then the score is translates into the A grading system. So if this flower gets a 9 or over, it should be a quad. And then if it gets an 8, then it's a trips, right? 7, dubs. And then below 7, you're just like, nah.
No.
50 to 70 is like an A, and then below 50, you're flunk. Don't smoke this.
You got a pitchfork and a
That's
torch.
like swag, and you're just like, nah, I don't know about that.
Find these people.
So this is like very strict grading system.
No, it's not strict at all. Not strict at all.
We're hooked up to electrodes. If you've ever seen Ghostbusters, when Bill Murray electrocuted people, that's what's going to happen if we get the answers wrong.
So Unity, you're going to get the fun app version.
Okay, I'm just.
So yeah, let's get into the grading here. What do you need from us? What do you need from us?
Yeah. So if you could please, I have this is San Rafael's Tangerine Dream, and I would like you to follow the quality grading parameters. Now, the bud development section is the first one. It's not on this one here, but if you just like give it a rating on 1 to 100, what would you say the bud development is on this?
So this is straight out of the package?
That's right.
So this is what, as a consumer who just opened up, this is what the consumer would receive?
And this is what you judge.
Okay. So odor strength.
Bud development, what would you give it?
Bud development service.
Well, I mean, they're consistently small and unimpressive, I'll be honest. It's not, I've seen, the cannabis that I consume at home is quite a lot more robust, and I don't know, The bud development, it doesn't look like they were huge colas. Some of these don't grow as big, but I'm not too sure how big the everything was supposed to be growing. The flower itself, the buds are unimpressive. 1 to 100, I would. The benchmark being, I'd probably go 15, 20.
Okay, Unity, what'd you give it?
It's definitely disappointing. I would be disappointed if I opened this up. There's lots of broken leaves. I see one long twig, and that being said, the pistils are really orange and vibrant, but bud development, it doesn't seem like, even, I guess, you know what they do, I see like they do look the same sat now. Out of 100?
Yep, out of 100.
This is really low.
Okay, so what number would you like to give it?
But this isn't moisture content, this is just bud
development. Just bud development.
Just bud development, I'd go low, 30 or 40.
Give me a number.
30.
Okay, all right. Now, odor, strength.
Odor is there. It does have citrus. It does have orange on it. There still is a little bit of air. I just call it arid. It's a little arid, where it does have a hint of that it's dry or has been dry or something along those lines. But there is orange. There are definitely terpenes on there for sure. Again, though, it's like, where's my benchmark on all of this? And if I'm trying to,
So,
as far as the
on a
Tangelo
scale
from
of 1
Top
to
Leaf
10,
that I had a year ago versus, on a scale from 1 to 10.
Scale of 1 to 10, 1 to 100, sorry, 1 to 100, what would you give the odor strength? This is not how much you like it, it is how strong the smell is. What is the odor strength in your opinion?
I'd go about 65 on this one.
All right, Unity?
I love the odor.
Yeah.
I love
other than you subjectively enjoying the odor, what about the odor strength?
My nose is quite close to it.
Yeah, of course, you have to. You can give it a squeeze, like squeeze the bud, release the aroma.
Good idea. I love it. I feel like, for me, my sense of smell is not my strongest sense.
Right.
And I love how I have a clear odor, which is tangerine from this, which I love.
Awesome.
So I love how it's like obvious for me.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what would you give it? 1 to 100.
The odor strength?
Yes.
I still don't think it's super vibrant. Like,
you smelled other stinky weed.
Yeah,
before.
like this isn't anything compared to other cannabis where like you'd open it up and it would just
fill the room.
Space and fill the room.
Yeah.
This doesn't fill a room.
No.
So odor strength, once again, it'd be quite low. I can't smell it from here, and I'm like
I'm going to bring mine down too, to be honest, because I'm sitting here benchmarking it, I think, against other regulated cannabis. But if we're benchmarking this against the best cannabis being on one end of the spectrum and the worst cannabis being on the other.
Well, this would be the LP category.
This
would be the LP category.
I'll keep mine at 65.
There's an LP category and there's a home grow category.
This is only LP?
I just happen to have an LP flower today to show you. So
this is tough. So if we're just looking at it from the LP category, I'd say it's high.
Okay.
And if we were looking at it from the pre-regulated and LP category, I'd say low.
Okay, well, overall, I think odor strength, overall, you should know. Come on.
I'm going to say 50.
50?
Yeah, then if it is overall and not just the LP system, then I would be going around 50 as well.
All right.
I'm being too harsh on that.
No, I don't think you are. That's the thing. You smelled some pretty, like Tangelo from Top Leaf, that punched me in the face.
Okay. Well, the thing is, and to be fair, you want to smell out of the jar, right? So now we can go into pleasantness of aroma.
Okay.
So how much do you like the smell?
I love this smell so much. I love the tangerine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the smell as well. Again, Tangelo, like I said earlier, and I've said many a time, it's one of my favorites. It's just one of those ones that, from an effect standpoint, I need to direct properly. But this is again, comparing this to the background of the LP cannabis that I've seen and smelled, doing a great job. This has got some really strong tangerine terps. The orange is on there, the citrus is on there. I know this would make me a little racy, and it'll not so bad actually, because I've been looking for something that is,
Well, you know what? You can't always judge if it's gonna be, racy or not, just based on
I find the orange, the like these orange
sharpness?
specific, not the
Yeah.
sour, like the super lemon haze or something
Yeah,
like that, doesn't make me excitable to the point where I can be anxious depending on what's going on in my
Yeah.
day. I find it is the orange terps, like
Yeah.
what's the other, mimosa. A mimosa will
Yeah.
also kind
Yeah.
of get me a little bit more elevated. It's great to be able to, again, curate my day around it, but if morning, I got a job interview at 11 a.m., it's like, man, oh man, that's the wrong thing to be smoking, because
Yes.
it'll create that, I'm
Jittery.
positive it is the terpenes, but again, I'll learn as I go here,
Yeah.
so, sorry.
So 1 to 100, what do you
1 to
give
100.
it?
Overall, 1 to 100, pleasantness, I'm going to give it a 75. It doesn't necessarily mean it's the strongest smell of tangerine, but it's on there for sure, so yeah, 75. Yeah.
Okay.
That's where I'll go with that.
I'll go high with this one because I actually really love how it smells like tangerine. I'm gonna go like 95.
Awesome. The pleasantness is it smells delicious.
I
want
it.
to eat it.
I want to eat it. I just
Yeah.
love it.
So
Okay,
good.
maybe I could go. I do feel like I love it.
Hey,
95.
give it 100.
Yeah, can I give it 100?
You can absolutely give
I
100.
do really love this.
If you love it and you love it, just
like,
for
I
you.
just want to keep smelling.
Yeah, we'll have to smoke it later. Well, we are. And then trichome expression intensity. So, so this is if you can see the cake from the outside, or when you look through a microscope, how healthy and beautiful do the trichomes look to you?
To the naked eye right now, under an iPhone, white light, I mean, I can see trichomes on there. Is it caked with? No. Yeah, I wouldn't say just to the naked eye there's anything all that impressive, but again, depending on which the benchmark is.
Well, Unity, you're looking under a microscope. What would you say?
I feel like they look really sad.
Oh, do they?
Do they? They're white, but they're not. I don't know where the heads are.
Oh no. Maybe look at another bud. Do you have a small bud, or is yours decent? Oh, Cobb, it's much easier to.
Where am I going
Yes,
here with
this
this?
is what you do. You just put this down.
Okay,
Let's put that. Where's a good place? I don't want to make a sound.
Oh, yeah, I guess
Okay.
go here.
This is
And
hard.
then you put this up
Okay,
right
there we
against
go.
here, and then you look this way.
Okay.
And then your light is just needs to be here.
There's lots. Okay, are we talking about the density?
Density and the maturity and the health of the
Okay, so
trichome.
it's super dense, and they're clear. Like they're definitely clear and really beautiful color. I just don't see a lot of like large
I don't see any
heads.
Yeah.
But everything else is really nice. Yeah.
Okay, so it's trichome expression and density. So an overall score.
Density, super dense.
Yeah.
Is that separate?
No, it's together.
Oh, it's together. So I'd go full points on density, let's say, or near.
Yeah.
And then what was the other one?
The expression. So just whether it's the maturity of or the trichome is, rounded head. Is it milky in the middle? Is it clear? Is it amber? Does it have like a wrinkle? The trichomes are bursting. Are they like huge and fat? Are they moderate?
Yeah, like they look young to me, and they're milky. Like the color's nice, but they don't feel like full.
Okay, so because you've seen other bud that's like caked, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're comparing to that.
I know.
So then, if it was on a scale of 1 to 100, what would you give it?
And those it's that two together. So I give full points on density. They're quite high, so that would be 50. And this has really good colors, so maybe 20 points for that, 70. And yeah.
Okay. All right. Cobb?
Yeah, the density's up there, but that's not the formation. Again, I don't think I'm picking up on a ton of like big bulbousy tips, right? So again, I'm not used to looking at it. I'm gonna try getting the mic. Not used to looking at it through a microscope. Density is great, but everything else is just kind of meh.
So what would you give it?
I'm gonna go down to about 60, just from what I've seen. 60.
All right. Now let's do trim. Trim is pretty easy because that's visual, right?
Yeah.
What would you say of the trim?
I mean, there's small buds, but the trim's not that bad, I don't think. Outside of the fact that some of this, what I'm doing here, let me get the actual light on.
What would you say of the trim, Unity?
The trim is, it's, okay, so I see some long twigs. I can't see, sorry. It's dark in here, I'm sorry.
It's okay. I think the lighting is great. The vibe in here is really nice.
It's very romantic, the lighting.
It's so romantic and so
The
relaxing.
trim is good. There's a few like leaves here and there, but I mean outside of that, it's what's nice is it's not drilled down to a friggin' bullet. Basically, it's I've seen some.
This is a nice trim.
Machine trim. I don't know if this is machine or not, but some machine trim is just absolutely ridiculous. It's you know, this is at least has. Yeah, there's some depth to it. It's not just shaved down.
So 1 to 100, what would you say?
I don't know. I'm gonna like the most beautiful bud, average to this, that, taking everything into an account. Again, I'm just kind of sitting around 60, 65, 60. I mean, it's not that impressive, but it's like still, it's more impressive than a lot of the LP cannabis that I've seen. It's not impressive at all by comparison to the best cannabis that I've consumed. Taking it all in, it's I don't know, like 50. I'm gonna have to go with 50 now. I keep talking myself lower, but I'm going 50.
Okay.
I like the trim. I think it's tight. I do like that, and there is an exposed stem, but that's obviously there's a lot of smaller pieces, so I would say it comes from that stem. It's not leafy.
Yeah.
I'd say it's a good trim, so I'm gonna go high on the
60.
trim.
That's just it. I think I'm just the trim. If it's just the trim, it's not bad. It's just it's not the prettiest weed I've seen. It's prettier than a lot of the stuff I've seen, but it's.
I would give it like a 70, 75.
Mm-hmm.
You said 70? Yeah, trim, right?
I would go high. Like I feel like I also feel like I'm gonna overcompensate where I went low in some places.
Sure. Like it's not a bad trim.
No, that's the thing.
It's a good enough.
It's a good trim.
Yeah.
So it's not the best. Like there's sugar leaf, but most of the bud doesn't have leaves coming out of it, right?
Yeah.
So
it feels tight to me, and I like it. I think it's a good trim. Like if that, I like it. I think it's a good trim.
So on a 1 to 100.
75.
75. All right.
Yeah, bring mine back to 65 or whatever it was. Like again,
65. 50 from 65. Okay.
Yeah.
Now moisture.
Oh yeah.
We discussed moisture, so
this is a fun one.
You should know what good moisture feels like, right? I will put in a caveat that it's been stored with a Boveda pack, as it needs to be.
And it was packaged on June 9th, 2019?
Yeah, it was in June.
Oh, that's you.
Sorry.
No, that's fine.
I thought that was me. I think it's really great moisture. I'm really impressed with the moisture level. I'm going to do a snap test.
Yeah, no, everything's fine for it. I mean, Boveda does a good job, taking care of that as well. And that's not, that goes with a lot of cannabis, even from the craft side that you get. That you still hear complaints on Reddit and on Instagram that, the humidity wasn't there, it wasn't sent with humidity control. No, at this point, I mean, it's fine. I know this would bust up just fine. It should smoke just fine. I'd be able to, I'll be able to roll this. Okay. There shouldn't be any issues. So.
Okay.
I'd say it has great moisture.
Yep.
Especially in this new regulated market. And that's one thing I really like about this brand is I feel like they bring products to market that are packaged in the last couple months. I would say on the moisture level, I'd go quite high. I'm going to go, but I did do the snap test on two, and one, didn't hear it snap, but maybe somebody just snapped it, and the other one had a nice snap. Okay. So I'm going to go high on the moisture level, like 80, let's say. 80?
Okay. Yeah, I'll go 82 on this one.
Right. You guys are critical.
Well, again, it depends on. Well, I mean, I'm being critical because I know it wasn't like that when it came out, right?
Okay.
Because it didn't come with Boveda in it. So.
All right.
Well, but that's also the way that it's working now. Is when people purchase this cannabis, it's a different way of consuming. You take it home and take it out, put it in a mirror and glass jar or something, and put that Bovita pack in with it.
No, absolutely. I totally get that. But that's, I guess, the thing is that no matter what, Bovita is designed to have it between 58 and 64 percent RH. So if you keep it in there, it's not a true reflection necessarily of what that cannabis
Of the moisture content.
Of the moisture content. You're looking at how well is Bovita working now, not how well was that flower.
Yes.
What was the RH of that flower, the relative humidity of that flower upon being packaged?
Yeah, compared to actual moisture content.
So yeah,
yes.
But I mean, again, I still, with the regulated system, whenever I do get something, I give it the benefit of the doubt. I always put Bovita in. I'm not going to sit there and be critical and be like, I knew it was going to be dry because, this stuff just tends to happen more often than not. It needs a little boost, I mean, you could say, or Bovita, but...
I would say security. You put money into this. And if you're going to be stashing it for a while, you want to protect your investment.
Absolutely, and that goes with craft cannabis, or excuse me, gray market, and it goes with regulated.
Everything. It's hugely
everything.
important.
So,
but it has been around.
Higher moisture, you think 90%, because it is really moist, which is actually.
I think it's like ideal.
Wrong
if it's
there,
ideal
right?
moisture,
so
wouldn't you say if it's something that's ideal, wouldn't you say 10? I think
that's just it.
It's ideal.
So say 100 on the moisture.
You could.
I mean, I'll go 100 on it simply. Again, I think it's for me, I'm going to stand behind. I'm complimenting Bovita more than I am the manufacturer of the cannabis. However, the cannabis at this stage is hydrated pretty much perfectly.
Okay.
So if we're looking at just hydration and what's going on here, it doesn't really matter how it looks or smells or anything. It's hydrated properly.
Got a good squish. Good bounces back. However, like we're talking about, it's slightly on the dry side.
It's definitely like old school moisture.
Right. So I think you guys are good on 80 on moisture. Like that's pretty good baseline. Now let's burn it.
All right. Do the grinder.
Yeah.
Is that how we do this, or
Do you want to use Do you want to use the 48 North grinder? Have you tried that yet?
No, I haven't. Yeah. So we can either.
Look at that.
Ooh, beautiful. That's a well-designed grinder.
Oh my God, you got to warn me. I could have taken off my laptop.
It's heavy.
Gosh, yeah, careful. Don't go over a screen or anything.
Ay.
Seriously, ladies.
Oh. Do you want to grind with that?
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't want to get your fingers pinched in that, but that's a nice solid grinder.
That's
right.
Yeah.
Literally.
Oh my God.
So we can either
Jesus.
roll this up and smoke it and do this, or we could just pretend and just say what we smoked earlier, and then let's just put your burn of what you did, because that's the purpose of this episode, right?
Yeah.
Unless you want, you can roll it.
I wouldn't mind. Would you mind? I wouldn't.
No,
mind
of course
trying it.
not.
I'm always fascinated by cannabis.
Do you want a real rolling tray?
I can work with that. Unless I'm doing something using my chopsticks wrong.
No, I just want you to be comfortable.
I'm fine. I just don't want to offend anybody.
Okay.
You ladies and your fancy materials here.
That's what I like. I like the fancy stuff. What kind of papers would you like?
I still eat over the sink. Pure hemp if you have them, but Ojai if you have them, or Canadian lumber if you have them.
Oh, you like the Ojai? I haven't tried Ojai.
I like them. Yeah.
Emily.
I was thinking about that today. I think when I first met Emily, when she gave me the papers, I was like,
that
look, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna use this for my pictures and stuff, but I'm very paper specific, so I'm probably gonna be using pure hemp. I'll be honest.
Yeah, pure hemp's
the way to go. Then I started using hers, and I was just like, actually, I'll be honest. I'll get some more papers. I really do like them. So those are the three I rotate with. Ojai is one I use. Canadian lumber is one I use. And pure hemp. I always like pure hemp because
I heard pure hemp's really good. I just
well, it seems to have some kind of technology on it where it makes it easier to grip. And I'm like, honestly, that's my issue. I swear, I need to moisturize my hands more, obviously, because it's like whenever I get to that last.
Can I show you the rolling trick?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna show you how to roll a joint so easily.
Please do.
Do you want these pre-made filters?
Sure. Yeah.
I'll let you
from
roll
Spirit
it.
Leaf.
Sure.
And then these are the two, Ojai and Hazo.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we're cutting this, right? From the episode?
I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, we'll just kind of speed through it. I'll listen to what we got, and we'll kind of fade in, fade out. So we'll talk our way through it anyway.
I like this, Julie. I like learning from you.
Oh, thanks.
I want to do this more.
I don't know how much you need
here,
more
of your stuff.
Here's the ground up stuff. I can grind up a little bit more if you.
No, this is good.
If you need it.
How much? You guys don't smoke that much, right?
Well, no, I just want to try it. I just want to get it sense of the
And
dry
we can
pull
light it
and
in here.
oh, nice. So yeah, we'll just do a quick evaluation. So
it didn't.
Julie's going to teach us how to roll a joint here, a no-brainer
So it's so
way.
moist. It didn't. It didn't.
Crushed up and it's pretty spongy. Okay, so you know the first step of rolling a joint, right? You put the weed in the paper.
Yeah,
you got that
yeah.
part, right?
I even make a chamber by folding that, like making quarters out of it on the bottom, like 2 quarters, and then the other half of the paper to make a chamber that holds it in, kind of thing. So here.
So wait.
Well, yeah. Keep going.
Okay. So then the key to rolling any joint, the fastest foolproof method is you build a trough.
Yeah,
you fold a trough.
So
So you see that paper?
Mm-hmm.
You get this business card or this here. You roll it over top.
Very cool.
Very nice.
And then boom. It doesn't matter how dry, because the drier it is, you just make it tighter.
Yep.
It doesn't. And then if you know if it's ideal, then you just roll it up.
Mm-hmm.
Look how fast that was.
Yeah.
So
nice.
you just take
and then I don't know where that filter
side of
is.
the paper and you just kind of make more of a crease with it.
Yeah.
Very cool. Where'd you learn that technique? That's so cool.
It was my friend Zach that showed me. We got lifted.
I've seen that before with the
After
tapping
work.
of using that to kind of stuff it in. It's
you can use it to stuff it in, but you just see how many
tuck the paper behind. I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And so.
You made that look so easy.
And then makes it even. That's the thing. It's like for me, I'm finding I'll get the run because of the glue line kind of thing, and there's usually like a little bit of extra paper that's folded in under itself, so I'm positive that it's just not burning as fast as the rest, and that's what's creating the canoe. It's either that or people's glue line. Your glue line is usually probably where the canoe is at its height, kind of thing. So
because right.
I'd assume so, anyways. Especially ones that are like smoked immediately afterwards, kind of thing. Rolled, licked, filtered, and smoked.
Excellent. Look at that. You just
That's
you
beautiful.
make it look so easy, and you do it so quick, and it looks so beautiful.
It's not. It's the trick.
So
that's it. Yeah, that's
how
it.
How long have you been using that trick for?
Oh, since I was it's like 16 years.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So, okay.
All right. So we now have a rolled. This is tangerine.
Yeah, right. The clap makes it easy.
Easier. All right. We have tangerine. What was this? Tangerine Dream or Tangelope? This is
Tangerine Dream.
Tangerine Dream from San Rafael. Got some pretty decent reviews, all things considered. I'm doing the dry pull right now. And I'm picking up on the terpenes that I'm smelling, so that's a good sign. And then we're going to spark this young lady, and
So dry pull, what would you give it? 1 to 100?
It's like 100. It's like a Slurpee, and I just want to keep taking dry pulls.
Well, what's the evaluation here? Is this does it taste the same as it smells, or is this is my mouth filled with unicorn turds when I'm done?
And does the flavor taste good? Oh yeah.
It tastes like it smells. Flavor is nice. I've had definitely stronger, but let me do another.
Tasty.
Yeah, I literally feel like it's a straw into a Slurpee. Yeah. Except for instead of getting sugar and coal.
Yes.
I just get that taste.
That's right. FYI, we're an hour and 10 minutes into this podcast, so if you want.
Yeah, no, we'll I'll be cutting out a little bit of metal stuff there. We'll make it work. Okay, so now we'll smoke this and get this show on the road, and we'll wrap this one up. May I?
Yeah. Please.
Oh, for crying out loud! I'm used to using matches. Okay.
So I usually don't judge on the first inhale.
Mm-hmm.
I usually, take a few tokes first,
and
then
get to know it a little bit. And,
yeah.
Yeah, and again, I don't want to be burning paper or fuel or anything like that. That's not what I want to be picking up either. So. Okay. There you go. Give it a whirl there, Unity.
Thank you.
It's smooth. It doesn't burn. It doesn't taste harsh. So that's nice. I've had stuff that has tasted harsh. It doesn't taste bitter, or that well, I think what you refer to as bitter is what I refer to as tinny. That sort of aluminum tin can sort of metallic taste to it. Maybe I'm wrong though. Maybe that's a
Tinny is
different.
different than bitter.
It is different than bitter.
Yeah, that
So
metallic taste. Yeah.
it's this is
Delicious.
it's quite nice. It's terpene. What do you think, Unity?
I really like the Tangerine Dream a lot. It is easy to smoke. It's also really low THC level. It's 13%, so
Mhm.
that's pretty like cruisy. I did a wake and bake with this
Mhm.
cultivar this week, and it's nice.
Nice.
It's
You
a
start the day with it for sure.
it's a nice one. I really
Yeah, you don't really burn out on it either. But regardless, we can't really discuss the high as much, right? Just because
right.
everybody reacts differently. So, if we're to say flavor, how well does it transmit the flavor of the bud when you toke, when you burn, or vape?
It's a nice burn. It's smooth, but it's not like I'm not filled with like a basket of sweet Valencias over here, right? It's
Yeah, it's a little muted.
by some other, again
Flavor.
by comparison to the other Tangelopes or Tangerine Dreams I've had. Um, I can still get it though on the way out. On the
Flavor's good.
way out, it's there. But again, it's the flavor's nice, but I'm not picking up that massive bouquet of orange kind of thing. It
Okay.
burns well to me though. Let's put it
Mhm.
that way. It burns well, but it doesn't necessarily translate into massive amounts of flavor.
Yeah, because it's the strength of the flavor as well as how much you like the flavor, right? Because sometimes you're just like, it's a very strong, but sweet flavor. It can be a strong or and tinny flavor. So you
Mhm.
don't want that either, right? So you want a good balance of the strength and the flavor itself. And so with that said, what the flavor in terms of the parameter is worth the most
Oh.
in the burn test, it's worth 25% of the overall score.
Mhm.
So this score is very important. So when it comes to flavor, what would you give it?
It's smooth. It's really smooth,
It is
and
smooth.
it's really it's an easy smoke. I'm not hacking. I'm not coughing. It's quite silent. That has a lot of values. I rate it quite high there,
Mhm.
and I think muted is a really good word. I'm not picking up anything super strong.
But it tastes good. You
Yeah,
can't deny it's a good
No, and
it
that's
tasting.
just
tastes
it.
good.
It's
It's
a pleasant.
easy.
This is a very pleasant strain.
Yeah.
One of the more pleasant strains I've certainly smoked from the legal system. Like I say, I'm not hacking whatsoever. There's no bitterness, so that's what I come to expect from a lot of it, and it's very. This is very pleasant. It's again, I, I'm simply going back into my Rolodex of the Tangelopes and the Tangerine Dreams that I have had, and I know for a fact it was a sharp, and it was 13%. All of that very similar characteristics, and there was that I was pulling off beautiful orange terps almost down to the filter, right? So when I have a bouquet like that versus a hey, it tastes good, there's nothing really wrong with it. I get a little bit of that orange at the end of the breath coming out, but I'm not filled with the spirit kind of thing. So that's where I'm going to have to still go with 60 on this, given that I've had orange terps that have lasted the length of the entire joint, and it was quite mind blowing. So I'm very impressed with this regardless, though. So San Rafael, you're still doing something fierce out there, anyways, by comparison.
However, you give it a 60. Unity, what would you give
However,
it?
I get don't be mean.
Well,
Don't be sarcastic.
60 is nothing to be proud of.
Well, it isn't, but I mean, I
Hey,
can probably get access to the one I'm talking about, and we will do the side by side comparison, and
absolutely,
you would,
absolutely. No, and that's the
so
thing.
it just is one of those
And the
things,
thing is,
right?
like, if you,
So,
the longer you've been smoking really, really good weed, your quad that you had 10 years ago is now a trip. Because your newest quad is so much better,
well, I
right?
spend my life
So, like, the
hunting,
more experience you have,
so
to truly define something as a quad is very difficult. Because you have to find it and it has to be grown perfectly. In this example, Unity, what would you give it for flavor?
I like that it's an easy smoke, so I'll go higher than Cobb. I'll go 75.
75. All right. So then smoothness. So
Oh.
how smooth is it going down?
Oh, I thought smooth was part of the last
I thought it was all kind of all encompassing.
No, flavor and smoothness, because something can
Okay.
taste good, but then the smoothness.
Okay,
I'm so getting.
okay, so flavor I'll go 70, smoothness I'll go 90.
Ah.
Yeah, smoothness I'll go probably 90 as well. I might agree
Very
entirely.
Smooth.
It is.
Very
That's just it.
smooth.
It does.
Oh yeah.
It more than doesn't suck.
It's
It feels nice. It's
That's
a pleasant
right.
smoke.
And then as we've been burning this joint, what's the ash like?
The ash has been white. I've been keeping an eye on that, so that's nice. It's so all indication is that it's fairly clean cannabis.
1 to 10.
1 to 10
on white ash.
Oh, so 1 to 100.
On how white the ash is. Here, let me just make a little more for us here. But overall, I would go 90 on that too. I've seen whiter ash, but it's pretty white ash. It's given the paper too is bamboo. That's going to burn a little bit dark on the edges. Yeah, when you get into the middle of it, there's not much salt and pepper. 85. I'm going to go 85. I've seen some pretty white ash out there, so 85.
Okay.
It burns clean.
Unity?
I agree that it is really clean. I'll go with Cobb on this.
All
I don't
right.
think we agreed yet on any of the ratings.
That's
Not
okay.
entirely, but we come close on it. Yeah, we generally come close.
Okay. So, the results are in.
Mm-hmm.
So, Cobb, you graded this to have a 69.75.
Sounds high.
Unity, you gave this a 77.5.
Uh-huh.
So, what is the average score? Is this and this? Oh, sorry.
So, do you use this every time you open up cannabis?
You can. Yeah. So collectively, the average is a 73.625,
Oh, wow.
which grades this flower at a AAA.
No.
I would give this is a solid AAA.
I say a double on the
How
on
can
the
you say
on
that's
the.
a dub?
Okay, I guess
How
yeah,
can
but see that's the thing.
Where?
My spectrum, yeah,
Did
my
you see the
spectrum,
purple
you're right.
calyxes? Did you see that
Okay,
the flavor
maybe
was?
you're right. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. It's yeah, because I guess I don't really expose myself a lot to like an A or a double A, right? So it's just like I assume if it's not fucking like what are they, Sanks now they call them, or like whatever the 5As are, or like beyond, like bouquet, what are they? Like yeah, like real like
A quad plus.
Quad plus,
Yeah.
but there's like certain terms for them now, like Sank is one, like
Yeah, I
French
know,
for
but
5 or
Sanks
something like
is
that.
also
It
like a
doesn't really work for me.
yeah.
But anyways, it's like comparing that to it's all again comes down to the overall comparison.
However,
I don't expose myself to shitty weed very often. No, I don't mean this. I mean like an A or a double A, right? So my view or perception of what a trip should be is not it's not as honed as it should be. I think that's what this is teaching me. Is that this probably is a trip, but in my mind, I'm not trying to be a modest bragger here, but I smoke very good cannabis.
Well, you know
that's
what?
my purpose.
And your score was 69.75.
Mm-hmm.
So it's right on the bottom end of a trip.
trip.
So it's like this is technically a high dubs, right? And so that's what you're saying, that this doesn't even get to the trips because you gave it a 69.
Mm-hmm.
So this just validated my test. Yes.
We're validating here.
Yes.
We're validating.
And then and really Unity, yeah, like 77.5, that's what I got too.
Oh.
Yeah. So bang on. So collective score, you guys got on average 73.625 is your average score. And if you're in a judging group of, can I tell you about this now?
Yes, please. You're awesome.
So I've got this. I'm just gonna give you the girl one.
Yeah,
and I'm
I'd like
gonna
that's
give you
fine.
the boy one.
I'm down.
And so this is the collector's cup. And so Cobb, if you think you know what a quad is, Cobb, then you compete as a collector. And this is my invitation to you to come and bring 2 cannabis samples, 14 grams each. Total cannabis, 28 grams. Puts you under the legal limit possession of 30 grams. You come as a collector. You compete. You come and we're going to have Ryan Lee, okay, Chimera, Bubble Man, Marcus Richardson.
Yeah, no, Marcus.
He's going to be there. Yeah. We're going to have big names. We've got Mike Sachik. He from Green Grow Spaces.
Mm-hmm.
He knows how to grow cannabis.
All right.
I got some VIP judges that you want to meet. Jamie Shaw, Travis Lane, Tom Hicks. It's gonna be good.
You got some heavy hitters.
Heavy hitters.
Well, see, and that's the thing. The only I remember talking to you about this at I can't even remember the event. It was Michael's event on the North Shore, but we were chatting about this, and I'm like, I don't keep, and it's so interesting. I was like, I don't keep cannabis like that. I don't have like this like I have my private reserve, but I don't have this like the cask of private reserves, or like the cellar where it's like, this is, you're gonna go down there for a few years, little lady, and we're gonna bring you back up, and like I had never heard of keeping cannabis for months, years at a time.
It doesn't have to be months or years. Okay, let me just ask you a very basic question. Okay,
Yeah.
we're all gonna answer right away. Okay, so whenever you get a bag of weed, however way you get it, you look at the bag of weed and you smell it and you like it, and what happens? You take the small buds first and you roll it up and you smoke it, right? You leave the most beautiful bud for last.
Bottom up. Are you bottom up or you top down?
That's right, okay?
Yeah.
Unity, you got a whole cabinet of cannabis.
Well, and in my mind too, it's like that's also the nug that's going to lose the least humidity by the end. Like the little ones are going to go drier faster, and this bigger one, that's just it. The bigger one is beautiful, and you want to preserve that. Now, on the actual, do you pick from the bottom up or do you go from the top down when you're finally at that final nug? How do you break her down?
So hard to say. It depends on the bud, because sometimes if it's like a Christmas tree type of bud, then I actually go from bottom up and I like to finish the tip or whatever, right? But if it was like weirdly shaped, then I'm like, I'm just gonna rip off this nug. Yeah. Depends on the speed too. However, okay, so we've been doing this innately. We didn't even know what it was. We just happened to put a label for it. We've been collecting cannabis ever since we started smoking it. And so you keep your bud that you love so much, especially if it burns nice. And if it was, you put money into it. So what do? Sometimes you smoke more. Other times you save it so that you can take it and share it with a special friend or show it off to someone else that you want to impress. Usually that for you, Cobb. So you should definitely compete as a collector. So if you think that you have a nice eye, nice nose, nice taste for good cannabis, for fine connoisseur cannabis, then you show up to the Collector's Cup. You come and you compete. The judges are going to go through this process that you guys just went through, unless you also attend as a judge. You can become a judge, or you can be a collector, or you can just come and cheer on your favorite collectors and see who wins. And we're going to see by grading which flower gets the highest score. We have LP category, we have home grow category. So in both categories, we have indica, sativa, hybrid, CBD. 8 total awards that are going to be issued out. We have a secret award that's going to be also presented that day, but you find out that day. Okay? At the same time as cannareps does it, we're going to entertain and educate you at the same time. So we're going to literally take you around the world and talk about land-raised varieties and teach you about the cultural significance of each flower and how it's inspired a modern hybrid. You're also going to learn and interact with all the various exhibitors, and then we're doing a very special cannabis sommelier skills development area. So if you can name that strain or that terpene, test out your skills for fun.
Wow, this sounds amazing.
Joint rolling contest. If you want to enter into your joint rolling contest, join. I will be hosting a handful of them. So you can compete as well if you like. So it's going to be a fun day.
If I don't use your tip, I'm going to get automatic fail.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's going to be a fun joint rolling contest. There's like speed. I'm doing a blindfolded one, and then I'm doing most creative.
Blindfolded. Wow.
Yeah. So,
that's impressive.
Yeah. There's and so you can. It's going to be fun like that. You know what I mean?
Nice.
And then of course, it's all about cannabis appreciation, which is what we started off talking about today.
So much fun. So
I'll be in town, so
So where can people get tickets?
So collectorscup.com. You can also go to the cannareps website, and it's just the Collectors Cup, September 22nd. We're hosting it in a nice, classy venue, UBC Alumni Center.
Wow.
And it is a bring your own cannabis event. It is also the first legal Bud Cup in Canada.
Wow.
So you want to be there.
That's really cool. That's
There's
awesome.
special partners. Choom is going to be part of helping us deliver the Cannabis Sommelier Experience Center. Franklin Enclosures is going to be showing people, hey, if you want to grow at home, this is what you can do.
Oh, got to talk to them, yeah.
Yeah, Boveda is going to be there, and they're like going to talk about Boveda is being very nice in this. They are for all the judges passes, you're going to get a special gift. You're also, as a general attendee, you can also get a special gift for Boveda. It's very good. We got Connecta that designed everything to make this look so beautiful. And we have Tech POS, that's our technology company, that's going to help power what we're doing here. So it's going to be the event to go to.
This is awesome.
This is amazing.
Yeah.
I'm so thrilled that you came here to let us know all about this.
Well, thank you for having me.
It's really exciting.
Absolutely. This is and this is fun. I you know, I learned a lot about myself tonight.
You learned about cannabis.
We had some pretty deep talks though tonight. So I like this new format. It's it's like girl talk plus Cobb. So it's it was good though.
Did you say really girl talk with a Cobb?
No, plus Cobb.
Or plus Cobb.
Cobb. Yeah, no. All right, we're gonna edit
Two
that
girls
one out.
And a Cobb.
No. Oh yeah. Wow! I can't believe you just pulled that reference.
Well,
and you do know what reference
it went
you just
there.
pulled, right?
Well, you went
wow.
there, so I was like,
you just got a lot cooler in my mind. That's
Did
crazy.
I?
Yeah. Well, I mean, just being able to pull references like that. Sometimes I say shit all the time where people kind of look at me and have no idea what I'm talking about.
That just happened.
And yeah, I bet you're like, well, I wonder if he's gonna actually. Yeah. We'll talk about it afterwards, Unity. Anyways, what a great episode too. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Unity, as always, for your hospitality here in your home. Thank you, Kush, for your comic relief.
Laying low.
Finally.
Yeah.
Really, thank you very much for everything. That was it was an awesome episode. I really enjoyed that.
Thank you, Unity. It's always so good when we hang out. I love your bright presence, and Cobb, we can nerd out about cannabis all day.
Sounds good.
For sure. And thank you for doing this quality grading exercise with me.
That was fun. That's awesome.
Thank you. Collectors Cup, September 19th. Come. Yeah, we have so much more in store for you.
Awesome, team.
Thank you.
Have a good night, everybody, or good day, or good morning. It's been awesome to chat with you all again. We'll call that a wrap, I think.
That was fun. Thank you.